5, 4, 3, 2, 1, acción.
Hola amigos, me llamo Rob's Rant and Ramble. Welcome back. So today I got a big show. We're going to talk about President Trump. He's visiting China. Big trip today, and the entourage is absolutely insane. I mean, the flight over. Okay, for those of you that don't know, Donald Trump visiting China with Xi Jinping, and the people that are traveling with them, CEOs of all the biggest, the world's greatest companies. You got Jensen Huang from NVIDIA, also Tim Cook, CEO of Apple, which, by the way, he just stepped down, by the way, which maybe we'll talk about later. But you also got Larry Fink of BlackRock there. And you got the CEOs of Blackstone, Boeing, and Goldman Sachs, Citigroup, MasterCard, Qualcomm, all there. Basically, they were saying that there's $10 trillion worth of market cap on that plane right there. So if that plane were...
Got to be more than that. BlackRock alone is $10 trillion.
That's assets under management, though, isn't it?
Yeah, you're right.
Anyways, so you got it's like the Justice League. You remember DC's Justice League? It was like Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman. It's like the Justice League of fintech and banking, all flying out to China right now. You got to ask yourself, like, is he sending a message? Like, are they like rolling up? Because like when I went to the swimming matches back in high school, right? Swimming was like a big thing for our high school, and so it was swimming and wrestling. So we would go to the other, I forget the name of it, but it was in Virginia. We would go to the other high school, and we'd roll deep, right? We'd roll with all the heavy hitters. You had the captain of the football team. You had some people that were drafted by the NFL that eventually got drafted by the NFL. So you brought all the heavy hitters. You brought all the biggest people, you brought the muscle in for intimidation, right? And I might be asking yourself, like, who the hell is intimidating at a swim meet? But I'm telling you, my high school, this thing was the chlorine. You walked in and just stung your eyes. So you had these bloodshot eyes, and then you're at the rivals swim meet. Anyways, you roll deep with the heaviest hitters. That's what U.S. is doing here. I mean, you're setting precedents, right? You're like, hey, I got Jensen Huang, which, by the way, what do you think Jensen Huang wore? Or he packed. What do you think he packed on his trip, right?
Well, I mean, we have footage.
So Jensen Huang, if you're not familiar with Jensen Huang, he has one outfit only, and that's the all black leather.
Leather on leather on leather.
Leather on leather. So this man's suitcase looked exactly like that. So Jensen Huang, the founder, CEO of NVIDIA. And so the NVIDIA chips, first of all the newest ones, they're not allowed to export those to China. So you might see, first of all, if we were going to just talk about Jensen Huang and NVIDIA, you might see a situation where China all of a sudden is now allowed to buy, as part of some broker deal, buy chips from NVIDIA, because the only ones that they can get are like those old antique ones that the U.S. doesn't want to use. And so with the rising need for data and information and speed and chips for these AI data centers and these large language models, the benchmark or the go-to chip is the NVIDIA one. I forget which one it is, the one that Elon Musk is always talking about.
H100.
Is it the H100?
I mean, it's their top tier chip.
Yeah. So, you got to think, like, what's going to come out of this, first of all? And then, like, you're bringing all that muscle. Like, you think they're, like, threatening here? Or do you because there's one thing that Donald Trump isn't. And Donald Trump isn't a man that just casually sits around the table like, so what are you guys looking for, right? Like, would you like to do a deal here? How about we, I'll give you some computer chips. You give me some oil, some rare earth metals. Perhaps we, I'll lower the tariffs. Now, the man is full of threats, weird promises, and then like bald eagles just flying in the background. And you got to think he's bringing muscle, and he's gonna stress test the room, right? I think, don't you think he's gonna stress test everything? Like he's gonna just like throw like threats out there and they come back with a deal somehow or another.
I mean, I think that's the point, right?
Maybe dangle like nuclear war or something.
Nah, I don't. I think he's gonna try to fight fire with water.
Fire with water. Okay, so he's just gonna put out the fire with water.
Yeah,
it's not a good analogy.
Fair. You keep talking about him arriving. Here's a video of him arriving.
Oh yeah, let's see. Look at this badass. This is way better than how U.S. does it, man.
What do you think they're saying? Listen.
I don't know, man, but it's a high. I also saw another video. The entire drive from the airport, they had nothing but roses on the whole drive. Both sides of the road. I don't know how many miles or kilometers or whatever metric system they use over there, but yeah, none but roses on either side. So, they're rolling out. Where is it at?
Trying to find the video.
Yeah, they're. I don't know where it is, but anyways, yeah, the whole drive, number of roses. They had a giant entourage to meet him there, or a large group of people, a lot of cheering folks. But you got to think like, what are they going to do there? Right? What's your thoughts? What do you think is going to happen at this giant summit in Beijing? You think they're actually going to like do anything productive there? Do you think they're?
Well, I think the question you got to ask first is who has the leverage, China or the U.S.? Who do you think has the leverage?
Okay, China has more to gain right now, but I think
Here you go, by the way. Here's your video.
Oh yeah, there's all the roses. Oh, look at that. Wow. Yeah. But China has more to gain, right? But the US is in a tough spot. You got there's a lot of things going on, right? There's the Iran and the oil prices that skyrocketed from the Strait of Hormuz being closed, and China has been relatively quiet in all this. And it's like if two people that were two people that are very scrappy, two bullies, or two people that just fight all the time, if one of these people are fighting, the other person ain't doing nothing, right? You're just sitting back and watching. Like me personally, like if I saw one of my homies fighting, and he wasn't getting beat up, right? He wasn't getting beat up, but let's say my home dog, he's like messing with some skinny kid or whatever, and he just starts like punching him. I'm not going to jump in. There's no need for me to jump in and throw blows on him, right? It's not necessary. He knows what he's doing. He's got enough, he's got enough experience. He knows what he's doing. I feel like that's how China's looking at the U.S. China's just watching the U.S. We're fighting, we're fighting Iran. We're taking some punches. We know that the U.S. isn't going to collapse, right? We know that the U.S. isn't going to cease to exist like tomorrow. We know that the economy's not going to crumble tomorrow. But we're taking some punches, and China just sitting back there just like, they're like, China isn't saying anything. It would be the same if China was messing with something, because a lot of the reason they're going there is for Taiwan, right? Because a lot of people are talking, hey, this Taiwan thing's going to pop off soon. It's been like 8 years now, and everyone's like, it's not going to happen. But it's been, years and years that they've discussed Like China's saying, like, hey, Taiwan's part of China. It's always been part of China. Like, what are y'all talking about? Shut up. They're part of China. Very similar narrative that you see out of the U.S. when it comes to, what was it, Venezuela, right? Like, no. You're only buying oil from Venezuela. Not you, China. Not you, Russia. But like, actually, we're just going to change the president. We're going to kidnap the president. And so I feel like a lot of that same narrative is playing into Taiwan, right? A lot of that same feeling. So I feel like people understand that a Taiwan war is coming. And what do you got here?
I got some for you. So, you talked about
the
China
Justice
versus so we got the Justice League versus the Avengers.
It's not the Justice League. So
you're right. Avengers versus I don't know what the hell this is.
You got North Korea,
but you got Canada dressed as an elk. The UK, you got Japan as a samurai. Kangaroo for Australia on the US side. South Korea, no idea what that is. Is that an Asian Iron Man? You got the Justin Bieber guy out of India. And then over here, you got China, North Korea, Belarus, Pakistan, Iran. Iran looking kind of handsome there, huh? And then Russia has a big bear. Who do you think wins in this fight, by the way?
You mean like an actual...
Yeah, like Street Fighter style.
I'm going to go with the China because they got a nuke there, man. I mean, can any of these other... I guess, U.S. probably has nukes too, man.
Here, you got a kangaroo versus a bear. Who wins that fight, right? Kangaroo versus the bear.
Bear's going to fuck up a kangaroo.
Yeah?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I just went to the zoo last week. I was petting the kangaroos. Interesting.
What?
Yeah, man. Went with my buddy, Charles. They kept telling him he can't touch the kangaroos in like certain spots, and he was all liquored up just fondling the kangaroos. And we got kicked out of the kangaroo exhibit. Then the same guy that was policing the kangaroos, he was in the petting zoo area with the goats later. And then we rolled up like an hour and a half later, even more drunk than the first time. And then the look of disappointment when we crossed into that area, the petting zoo area, he was just like, they're here again. Anyways, enough about the petting zoo.
Let me rapid fire.
Yeah,
let me rapid fire. So, we're on this China thing. So there's 5 categories. You tell me who has more leverage. With the trade war and tariffs, you think China or the U.S. has more leverage?
China right now, because they're already behind on exports because of the U.S. And then there's like the oil deficit. Like they got more to gain. Like I said, like they got more to gain. But
so the U.S. has more.
But they're a manufacturing company or country, right? They are a net exporter. And so because they export and they manufacture and they have one of the largest populations globally, which might have been surpassed by India recently, but either way, if not surpassed by India, they got like 1 billion plus people that live there. And so they can produce, and they have one of the largest supplies of rare earth metals, and they are one of the industrial powerhouses to build technology as far as cell phones and things like that. I mean, you see everything's made in China.
Yeah, you're right. India 1.48 billion people, China 1.41.
Yeah, so ultimately, the Chinese country can withstand it, right? Now, the U.S. used to be an industrial nation, right? The U.S. used to provide the world. And when World War II started, what ended up happening was, a lot of people say that like, oh, war is good for an economy. No, it's not. It's not good for an economy. You know what it's good for? It's good for industrial producing nations that can build stuff, right? Because what happens in war, you need tanks and bullets and steel and whatever else you need, right? So you need an industrial like powerhouse. In England, right? England and Great Britain, they were the might of the world, and they relied on the external countries to produce. But then anyways, in came the war. They owed everybody money because they had to import all this crap. What ended up happening was that the U.S. became a superpower and became the superpower because they were producing for both sides of both sides of the war. And it was because they were an industrial nation. Now we've fallen away from that. Now we import everything. Now like all of a sudden, all of the jobs here in the U.S. is some, working at Starbucks or at the, Citibank office as an accountant and maybe the car wash. There's not a lot of industry, right? I mean, do you come across a lot of people that work in a steel mill? Like, do you work with a lot of people that are welders? There is an industry for that, but it's dwarfed to what it used to be. And so we're a net importer. So for us, we need to bring shit in. We need to work with China. We need to work with Canada, with Mexico. We need to bring in these essential items. But China, they're an exporters. They don't need this shit. They can be like, hey man, we're good. We are good. We make our own oil. We're self-sufficient. We got our own rare earth. We make our own electronics. We got our own AI models that we're running. They don't need to import. They would like to. It brings them in abundance, and then they can lower prices, but they can get by. So who needs at the table? Who needs this more? It's the U.S., bro, because the U.S. needs to bring in shit from other nations, particularly oil, rare earth metals from China, and low cost electronics, right? The circuit boards. Like, think about it. You see all those China stickers, dude. You know where this stuff is produced at? Overseas. What else you got?
AI and chip war. Who's got the leverage there?
U.S. has got that one though. We lead it, although China's not far behind. Now,
well, a lot of people's angle is if the U.S. continues to hold back and put restrictions on exports of chips and AI, it's going to nudge China into taking Taiwan over because Taiwan has the number one chip producer in the world.
That's the obvious situation, right? And the thing is once U.S. YOLO'd into taking out Venezuela and then going and messing around with Iran, it would be quite hypocritical for us to stomp our feet and say, what are you doing with Taiwan? No, you're not allowed to invade another country. You're not allowed to bomb another country. You're not allowed to take out the the head of, what is it? The president over there in Taiwan?
Taiwan, it's very similar to the U.S. So there's an elected,
whatever the head of Taiwan,
prime minister.
Yeah, it becomes increasingly more hypocritical for the United States to say, hey, China, you're not allowed to invade another foreign country. You can't do that. We just did it twice in the last 6 months, right? And so on top of that, even if we do want to stand fast, which we know that we are siding with Taiwan, we do military drills with them, and the premise for an invasion, right? We go through these drills, these war games, and we simulate what would happen if China were to attack Taiwan. And we know that we're supposed to have their back, but we're stretched thin, man. We've given a lot of ammunition to Israel. We're backing Ukraine. We are fighting a front in Iran. We're bombing Venezuela. I know we're not bombing them anymore, but it's just like, you got to say, like, do we got enough ammunition? Do we got enough firepower to back a tiny country, which is Taiwan, against the arguably largest military, at least by boots, is China? Now, we might have more technology and more cruise missiles or things of that nature, but it's hard to deny the fact that if China really wanted to take over Taiwan, is there any chance? Is there any glimmer of hope that Taiwan would be able to withstand that? Now, it could be a drug out, bloody process, and it could take a couple years, but I don't see a lot of opportunity for Taiwan to ultimately fight off China, even with the help of the United States, over a multi-year invasion.
Especially now that the U.S. stockpile is so depleted.
That's what I'm saying, man. And it's just, yeah, it's interesting. What else you got?
So here's an interesting take from a random person on X. Trump lands in Beijing today with Musk and them CEOs, red carpet out. President Xi can't even show up, just a VP. He's over there cutting personal money deals for himself, not for America. Screw this fake shit. America first, my ass.
Nah, I don't think it's, he is on this trip, my opinion, he's trying to get the best side of the deal for United States, right? I don't think his personal companies ultimately gain from anything. If the economy does well, his companies do well, right? Let's not kid ourselves, right? What would be bad for the US or for Donald Trump's company is if we went into a recession. It wouldn't bode well for all of his companies. But I think ultimately, he's trying to get the political situation flipped or reversed, because right now we're going into the midterms and there's not a lot of love. There's not a lot of love for Republicans and Donald Trump right now, or at least not where it was prior to his last election, man. There was a certain vibe. There was a certain euphoria about Trump, right? He was hitting the podcast circles. He was trending on Kick with Aiden Ross, and there was a completely different vibe. And now people are kind of pissed off with this whole Iran thing. People are looking at oil prices. They seem like they've been baited and switched. You got tariffs now. Inflation seems to have not slowed down. I don't want to say it's his fault, but whatever. Anyways, people are a little sour, dude. He needs a W, right? He needs a win, and I think he's heaving a football here. I think he's going to come back. He's going to drop some kind of tariff thing, or he's going to drop the tariffs to some degree there. He's going to say, hey, we're going to open up trading and this and that. And I think ultimately we're going to hear some positive news when it comes out of him returning, as far as him getting in front of a podium, perhaps lowering tariffs. But yeah, I mean, I don't think there's a lot of negative on this side. I mean, you never know. Although, when Trump hosts people at the White House, he always embarrasses a lot of people.
Yeah.
What if Xi Jinping did that, bro? What if he embarrassed Trump?
I don't think so. Not very likely.
Never know, dude. Never know. We're here in Vegas. Something very interesting going on here in Las Vegas at Resort World in a couple weeks. And it's the Enhanced Olympics, I think it's called, or Enhanced Games, or so this is an interesting concept here. So with this, it's basically like a tiny Olympics. However, for this one, everything goes. All the rules go out of the window. You're permitted to do whatever the hell you want, right? Steroids, PEDs, you can just jank up on TRT, testosterone, whatever you want. You inject everything and anything, whatever gets you to winning this, the games. Anything goes, which is very interesting, right? First of all, I got to say that I feel like if you join that as an athlete, you're pretty much toast with the rest of your career, right? Like you can't go to the Enhanced Games and then show up for the Olympics 6 months later and be like, I'm clean, bro.
Well, the reverse actually happened. So there's a person called Christian Golomev who participated in the
gold medal. Yeah.
Yeah. So he got 5th place.
But
at the Olympics,
here's the thing, bro. So not only, because here's the thing, in the Olympics, you don't get paid for that, right? You get like some per diem. It's something laughable, right? I think you get like 80 grand or something for participating, something like that. Basically, you're getting some rent money, right? You're getting hotel money, some food money, whatever it is, and you're not making anything, right? Here, you're competing for prizes. I think there's like $5 million worth of prizes they're handing out at this event. I think first place. Obviously there's a lot of sports. There's like swimming and wrestling and track, and I don't remember the list of sports, but there's a bunch of them. And you get like $250,000 for winning. And so like, I see you pulling this up. $1 million prize, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So if you break the world record.
For breaking certain world records, 100-meter sprint, 50-meter freestyle swimming.
If you break the world record at the enhanced Olympics, or the enhanced games, will that count against, or is that in like an asterisk? Like when you go to the real Olympics, like say 6 months later, they're like, hey man, here's the Olympic, because you got the Olympic world record and then you have the world record.
I don't know if this.
No. Here's the thing: you got the world record and the Olympic record, because you always see the WC or WR and then OR times, and the world record. I mean, you gotta throw the enhanced ones in there, right? What do you think?
I'm finding out right now.
Yeah,
I don't know the answer,
but I don't know. It's real interesting. This wouldn't be the first time you had an Olympics. A parody of the Olympics. You remember what was that Jackass movie? Not the Jackass. What was that? Johnny Knoxville.
The Ringer.
The Ringer. Yeah, the Ringer. Johnny Knoxville. So it was like the handicap Olympics.
Special Olympics.
Special Olympics. There it is. So
great movie, by the way. Did you watch this?
I did. Yeah. Yeah, you couldn't get away with that nowadays, or at least nobody would fund it. Right.
Definitely not. So to answer your question,
you know what they have? I saw it on Joe Rogan the other day. They have a retard maxing now. Yeah. So you got looks maxing. There's a retard maxing, and so,
what?
I'm telling you. There's all kinds of maxing. So there's gym maxing and
people
looks maxing. But
so retard maxing. So this is the ChatGPT description here. So retard maxing is an internet slang meme term that comes out of ironic online maxing culture, where people jokingly describe optimizing some extreme behavior or identity trait. Intentionally doing something obviously dumb, embracing chaos or low IQ behavior, ignoring overthinking and sending it, making hilariously bad decisions with confidence.
You see, I think the maxing culture is where we're going as far as society, right? It's like you got nothing else. There's nothing else you can do. Like, right? You got a phone and you got your dead 9-to-5 job or whatever the hell job you got. And then you go home and play video games. Your wife ignores you, whatever it is. And so you got nothing. You got nothing but a phone and your profession or your ideas. And so people are just like, I'm just going to do what I do to the max. And so if you're just retarded, that's all you got. You're like, you know what? I'm going to ride this shit to the sunset. Like, I'm going to just take my dumbass mentality and I'm going to embrace it. I'm going to maximize it. I'm going to promote it. I'm going to algorithm this motherfucker. That's what people are doing now in society. So you're going to have plumber maxing. You're going to have dance maxing.
Vape maxing, debt maxing, DoorDash maxing.
Yeah, you've seen the vape maxing.
Yeah.
That's when the people make like the circles and then they look like, you remember that old Sega game? It was like the dolphin, Echo the Dolphin. He had to like swim through the little rings.
No.
Anyways, that was my shit, by the way. But they would always have these like little circles or rings. Also Sonic, what was it? The one that had the guy with the red guy with the tails. No, Sonic Knights, Sega Dreamcast. I don't know. Anyways, blowing rings out of here, vape maxing. You know, speaking of vapes, by the way, bro, there's so in the US.
It was Knuckles.
Was it Knuckles? Yeah, I think it was Knuckles. Yeah. So in the US, you ever notice that like business trends just kind of always shift, right? Something's popular for like 5 years. Remember when like pho became a thing? Like there was like 70 pho restaurants and then all of a sudden they all shuttered. Now there's like 3. Then now it's kind of like ramen. You also had frozen yogurt was a big one. How about cupcakes? Remember cupcakes? There was like a cupcake shop in every goddamn shopping center for
What
a
about
while.
the cupcake vending machines?
Yeah, and then they're all drying up now. Now it's like these like fancy pastries. But you know what's really popular is the vape stores. Those things are popping up everywhere, dude.
True that.
It's like every time a yogurt land or a frozen yogurt place closes, it's immediately replaced by a vape store. And it's kind of like you've seen it history and time again where you went from Blockbuster. What replaced Blockbuster?
Netflix, Redbox, Redbox.
But the actual place, like it got you got what replaced it? Yeah, I guess it's the dumbass cupcake places. And so, the vape thing's interesting, right? I mean,
vape shops.
Yeah, those
dollar stores, discount retail stores, gyms, large open floor plan, churches.
Yeah, oh, you got those MMA stores now, or MMA is very popular. Those things are taking over.
MMA stores?
Not MMA stores, but
what? Like workout gyms? Pilates, yoga.
No, like the jiu-jitsu gyms. Like those things are taking over too. But anyways, man, it's just like, yeah, the interesting trend of American retail. And people go so hard and heavy into it. They think that like that thing's gonna like live forever. You know what the next fad is? So you got the retail fad. It's the card breakers. Like if I've never seen something, being in YouTube and being in this industry, like there's certain things that like grow in massive popularity and then everybody decides to start their own channel. And then, at one point it was like crypto, and then in another day it was, card breakers, and then it was, whatever the next fad is. And card breakers is the next one, bro. I promise you, because on my feed, on my X feed, I'm just like looking at like how they're printing millions and millions and millions of Pokemon cards every year. At some point, this market is going to be so saturated. There's going to be so many cards, and not to mention the whole premise of the card breaking is that they just keep opening up packs. So they're just opening up more packs and more packs and more packs. At some point, the inventory is just going to skyrocket, and the buyers aren't going to be there. People are going to get less and less interested. But I will say it is quite interesting. Those, speaking of those card breaks, so I'm not going to lie. The algorithm is catchy. It had me hooked for a little while. I was like watching people open up cards. They're turning around and selling them there live on stream.
Do you consider it gambling?
I think everything's gambling. Everything's gambling. We're here in Vegas. So
you're gambling right now by having your butt plug on the table there.
This guy. Yeah.
Impressive.
It's a big one.
Big gamble.
It's a big one.
Yeah.
But everything's gambling, man. Walking across the street's gambling, get hit by a car. And so, what job, a girlfriend, it's all gambling, bro. That's why I like when CoffeeZilla did a video, right? So first of all, shame on you, CoffeeZilla, because he went on Joe Rogan's podcast. And on Joe Rogan's podcast, he explained his whole like shtick and got interviewed, and he absorbed that popularity, right? I mean, how many viewers did he gain? How many subscribers do you think that CoffeeZilla gained by going on to Joe Rogan's podcast? So you could argue he probably had the biggest bump up in subscribers. And then a year later, he flipped on him. A year later, CoffeeZilla puts out a video talking about the gambling industry and how DraftKings was a sponsor for Joe Rogan. And he like put up videos of Joe Rogan and Kevin Hart and all these different people promoting DraftKings. And I'm just sitting there, I'm like, bro, you were on there 1 year ago. You like, that's some hoe shit right there. That is some CoffeeZilla, that's some hoe ass shit. First of all, how you gonna go on his man's show, which, by the way, his DraftKings commercial was running prior to him going on there. If he was so tainted If CoffeeZilla was so tainted by Joe Rogan's endorsement of DraftKings, he had no problem stepping into the limelight to absorb more subscribers. And so to be hypercritical of someone else promoting a gaming or gambling website, and all of a sudden you here are gaining from his subscribers or his viewers, it's just hella hypocritical, dude. Hella hypocritical, man. And then, he always claims that he only promotes
Patreon,
and no, man.
It's true. He does avoid, I think, every single major sponsor. I don't think he's had any sponsorships.
But the thing is that he went on a show for clout, right? I mean, let's be real. If you're a podcaster, if you are on YouTube and you get a chance to go on Joe Rogan's channel, you know what that means. That means you're going to get a shit ton of subscribers. You know that ultimately you're going to be getting a massive net positive for going on his show. But then to flip on him and then talk about how he's endorsing gambling websites, crazy.
His episode had 1.8 million views on YouTube.
Yeah, so that was a year ago, 1.8 million views.
That was just on the full video. Now the clips, this clip has 4 million views. This one has 6.3 million views.
Yeah, and then if you look at CoffeeZilla, I mean, go look at CoffeeZilla's channel, and then look at his gambling one. It should be under his videos. I think it's like that. Yeah. Where's that?
Gambling epidemic?
Yeah, that's
on Roblox
6 months ago. So he was only that one's the Roblox one. That was interesting. I mean, I've watched his videos. You know what? I don't really like CoffeeZilla, dude.
You don't?
No.
I got bribed by casinos, but I expose them instead.
And so
6.3 million views.
Not a big fan of it, man. Not a big fan of it. He also just blindly goes after the crypto industry, which, the thing is everything's full of fraud, right? The world. Who isn't trying to gain in a business deal? Think about that.
Yeah, but there's ethical ways to do it and there's unethical ways of doing it, right? You break laws, you don't break laws.
And there's that video. So exposing the gambling epidemic. Yeah, that's the one right there. I guess they do talk about Roblox in there, but yeah. So, in there he talks about Joe Rogan and I don't know, man. That just rubbed me the wrong way, man.
Can we talk about someone else that rubs people the wrong way?
Who's that?
You ever heard of the Chud the Builder guy?
Oh man.
So he's in trouble.
Yeah, he got arrested. He got arrested like 3 days ago.
Well, he just shot someone.
Oh, he just shot somebody?
Yeah.
When?
Just this was posted about an hour ago. Shot a man, attacked him outside a courthouse in Clarksville, and accidentally grazed himself in the process. Before it escalated, he asked the man if he was going to, quote, chimp out. The man then walked up and sucker punched him. It is unclear if the man survived. So, you know anything about this guy?
Yeah, man. So, which is interesting.
Give people a recap of who this guy is.
So, Chud the Builder basically looks like that corn-fed white boy from the country
who fucked his sister.
Yeah, he's got the stash, cowboy hat. Just your prototypical Southern white boy, right? And so, first of all, he has this look, right, of
punch me.
No, he has the typical racist white guy look, right? Yeah. If you were to say, like, what is the typical white man that hates whatever race it is? Obviously we're gonna say black people, right? And to the black community, that's the obvious. But I feel like when you're at your core, just like degenerate racist, you just hate everything, right? Everything outside of your own skin color, right? You probably hate Asian people. You definitely hate Mexicans. There's no shortage of hate you have for anyone that's outside of your own color. And he fits that box right now. But now, the interesting part about all of this, though, the dichotomy that arises is that his way of going about it is interesting. So he'll go up to somebody and say, do you believe in freedom of speech? And he says this he'll walk up to a black guy or a black lady. And I'm like, hey, do you believe in freedom of speech? Which ultimately they're like, yeah, of course. I'm going to live in America for sure. Why not? And then he just starts dropping N-bombs. And he's like, are you comfortable with this? And I don't really know if that's the right way of going about it, but it raises an interesting situation where it's like, do you believe in freedom of speech? Because it's not a banned word. But is it massively disrespectful? Is it like, I don't really know where it lands on like what should be said or not said. Obviously he's trying to trigger people. So he's going out here, he's saying shit, he's dropping N-bombs, he's saying chimp out. Like it's obviously he's trying to get under someone's skin. So I think the way of going about it is triggering. He's doing it for views, obviously, because he's live streaming as he does it. But it's interesting, right? It's interesting. Like, it's just very interesting because I don't know what to. I don't know if I agree with it. I don't know. Like, obviously, it's not actions or behavior I would have. I don't. It's in one hand, it's upsetting, but then I'm like, hey, like, aren't we moving past this? Like, shouldn't we not be triggered by just a simple word or phrase? Like, because I feel like I have less mental fortitude if I'm get triggered by something somebody says to me, right? Like, hey, Rob, like your hair is messed up or whatever it is. Or like, hey, you're dirty or whatever it is. Like, me personally, like, you can throw hate phrases, make fun of me, whatever it is. Like, I don't really give a damn. I think it's more about your own personal character. If you're attacking me, right? I feel like, what's wrong with this dude? Like, if someone comes up to me like, hey, you're ugly, I'm gonna be like, okay. And immediately I think, like, something's wrong with this guy, right? I think something's wrong with this person. And I think if you go up to someone and you say anything, and whether it's racial or, something about their looks or their girlfriend, it's like, I think it kind of speaks more to the person saying it versus the person receiving it, right? I think how you handle yourself is ultimately the judge of character. But I don't know. It's interesting. I don't know, man. It's interesting. It's just like, I'm very, very perplexed watching his videos, and and I do come from Virginia, a southern state. I grew up around a large black community. Most of my friends and most of my coworkers, all of the African American community, and at the same time, those were my friends. But then there was people I grew up with, like the regular, like, Southern white boy. And these are people that, I went to high school with, and they were like deeply racist. So I saw both sides of the coin. Now, I never agreed with the racist people. I never really like, I heard it and I was just like, that's crazy mentality, man. Like I never really understood it. Right. Because I'm like, I just looked at as John is John, right? I didn't put John in a box and be like, well, I got my black friend box and I got my white friend box. I know some people do this, but the thing was I grew up with both sides and I saw it, and I saw what that hate looked like. And on one side, that shit is ugly as fuck. It's disgusting, bro. And the way that people operated and the spite they had, like, that racism, especially in the South, is real. And this man's running around Nashville, right? In the southern territories. And so it's like, it's already like a matchstick zone, right? It's already kind of like, it's already like the play. If there's going to be racism, like, let's be real, like, there's racism in the South, and then you go to California, not so much, bro. Like, it's just the reality of it. Now, so you got a place that's got a strong history oppression and slavery and segregation. And so and that's in recent memory, dude. Like less than 100 years ago, we had such segregation, right? Slavery was like, 150 years ago, something like that. And so it's in our lifetimes, or our parents' lifetime, that there was an obvious, like institutional government level racism. And so I don't know, man. I don't know how I feel about it.
Let me ask you a question. Do you think him running around and doing this is creating a divide between white and black people? Or do you think it's bringing people together?
You know what the scary shit is about this? Okay, because I think it's interesting. And I think overall, as a strong individual, and I can't speak from experience because, I'm obviously a white person, but I would hope that people could just ignore racist comments, because I feel like if you were triggered by racist comments, then it becomes ammunition for those people, right? And so if you just really don't give a damn, you're just like, okay, whatever. Then it doesn't really.
No one would even know who this guy is.
What, this guy?
Yeah, if people ignored it and didn't give a shit.
Yeah, exactly. That's
but then again, you're speaking from a place of you don't know.
But here's the scary shit about this, is that we know what happens. Like I said earlier, there's card breakers are becoming massively popular, right? Why? Because people are watching other channels. They're seeing they got a lot of views. They're like, this is something I can do. Scary shit is that, there's going to be people doing this shit too. And so we've already seen dumbass YouTubers go out there and go to malls or whatever it is, and then like get in somebody's face and like try to punk them down, and then they're like, as a prank, and do it online, and then they end up getting shot or something like that. So people are copycats. And so what I'm kind of fearful of is this dude Chud, he's gonna get shot one day, bro. Or if he doesn't, some people want to. Now, whether they act on it or not, that's a different story. But he's putting a target on himself. Will violence? Will he find violence? I mean, he just did today. But if you imagine if you had 10 of those guys running around,
a lot of
15, 20, 30. Imagine 30 dumbasses like him running around.
A lot of people are saying that it's causing a divide between white and black people. I think it's actually.
I don't think so.
I think it's doing the opposite, because people have a hard time agreeing on things. And I think this is something 99% of people can agree with, that walking around and calling black people the N-word is just not fucking a good thing to do. It's just fucked up. And so you see white people standing up for it. You see Hispanic people standing up for it.
But there's people that are arguing that it's not a bad thing. What's the dude from Fresh and Fit?
Myron Gaines?
Yeah, Myron, he's a big supporter.
Sure, you can walk around and say whatever you want, but does that make it
but he's giving
right
it from a black perspective, right? He's saying that like, hey, like you getting triggered by this man just dropping a simple word and his intent is to trigger you, and you're falling for the trap is basically what he's saying. And so it kind of puts into perspective that like, shouldn't we move past this? Now, I'm not saying, these aren't my words. I'm just saying that like from Myron's kind of perspective, his narrative is like, hey, we should move past this. But the reality of it is that most times they can't. And I'll be honest with you, if I was standing next to a black man and Chud walked up and I had no idea who he was.
Yeah, what if you're with your best friend's black, you're standing there in Nashville.
That's what I'm saying. Or my girlfriend.
And what would you do?
Or it doesn't even have to be somebody I know. It doesn't have to be somebody I know. It could be me standing in line at Starbucks, and then the guy next to me is getting berated, calling an N-word by corn-fed white boy. I'm probably going to say something. I'm probably going to step in, bro. I don't know for sure, but like there's certain things I know I'll step in. Like if you touch my girl, like if you were to spit on me, there's just certain things that, right? Your violence will appear, like guaranteed.
So can't someone say the same thing? Why would you let it trigger you?
And so, but that's what I'm saying. But there's certain things you don't cross, right? You don't touch my lady. You don't hit a girl. You don't.
Well, for some people,
you don't hit me without retaliation.
But for some people, it might be.
So I don't know. But my whole point is that I don't know if saying the N-word to another person in my presence will cause me to enact violence on them. I don't know.
I would say something. I would definitely berate his ass and call him a bitch.
But here's the thing. If you say something, then you got to be ready to fight. You got to be ready to. So basically when I say enact violence, you got to be ready. Like, because if I'm going to step up, right? If someone.
Have you seen black people fight? I'll take that battle. If I got a black dude with me, hell yeah.
You just.
Bro, I've seen my best friend is black. That motherfucker can knock someone out with one punch, bro. All I'm saying is if it's me and a black homie versus a corn-fed white guy.
One time I was sitting in traffic. This was back in Virginia. Sitting in traffic. And I see a young black dude. He's like beating his girl, right? Just whatever. I don't know. And the thing is like, and I think the only reason I'm even mentioning the skin color is just because we're kind of on the subject, but it actually had nothing to do with it. But I just see this guy, he's just like smacking the shit out of her. And then he like starts like punching her. And this is on a sidewalk. I'm driving. And I remember there was this post office right there. So I pull over. And this is on a crowded sidewalk with just people just walking by. Guy beating his fucking wife or girlfriend or just some random lady that he was with. I don't know who she was. But I immediately jumped out of the car. I parked. I jumped out of the car. I went to get in between him. And then he instantly just started like yelling at me. And next thing you know, I'm scrapping with dude. I ended up on the ground. I was getting kind of fucked up.
The plot twist I did not expect. At least you're honest. At least you didn't make that.
But the thing was that like, to your point, is that I saw something I did not agree with. It crossed my moral line. So I jumped out of the car to do something. Now, my thing is like, would I jump out to enact violence over corn-fed white boy dropping in? But I don't know, dude. I've never been in that situation. I don't agree with it. I don't agree with his manner. I don't agree with it, but like, I don't know, man. I mean, Myron puts up a good point. I mean, perhaps you should just be like, okay, yeah, whatever, dude, whatever makes you happy, man, and move on. Dude wouldn't get the views, right?
Yeah.
And so I don't know, dude.
Interesting.
Yeah, very interesting. All right, well, that's going to do it for today's show of Rant and Ramble. So, see you next week. Take care.